Not work yet.
Okay. Thank you for joining us for the new Northeast Minneapolis Bikeways grand opening celebration.
3, 2, 1.
Woohoo! So this is a pretty intense infusion in a short amount of time of official bikeways in Northeast Minneapolis. We're starting out at Holmes Park, which is actually in Southeast Minneapolis.
This is one of the areas in Southeast Minneapolis that is one of the highest biking areas, and we're glad to add more biking amenity to this area of the city. As you probably know, it's on the edge of the University of Minnesota.
But we're going to continue north on 5th Street, which is a new bicycle boulevard. It's got lots of new innovative treatments, which Sean Murphy has, as the project manager, been in charge of.
One of the busy streets is this very complicated six-legged intersection of 5th Central and Hennepin. We buried detection devices in the pavement so that when you pull up on a bicycle, this stoplight picks you up. So there's a little bicycle symbol painted on the pavement, so when you are riding over, take a look at that. If you're here just on your own in the future, that's where you stop. And then there'll be a sign up on the post eventually. This hill that we're approaching, we did climbing bike lanes, and then downhill, we're gonna put up signs that say bikes may use full lane. So you'll notice on the other side, the bike lane disappears, and we're gonna add a bikes may use full lane sign. So the purpose is to get the slow bikers out of the way of the cars and vice versa, make bikers feel more comfortable. This is the only spot on the whole project where we did any sort of parking removal on this side of the street. Signs help most people, but if anyone else sees people parked in this when you ride on it, be sure to call 311.
Bike boulevards are purposefully put on low traffic volume streets and allow for bicycles to feel more comfortable riding. So whether you're just a beginner or an experienced cyclist, bicycle boulevards have a lot to offer.
At this intersection right here, we're coming up to a street that is a one-way street. It's coming at us. And something that's very common in Europe on little quiet one-way streets in residential areas is to allow bicycles to go both ways. And they always put up a sign underneath the do not enter signs. No, the project's about 70 to 80% done, so you'll hear me say a few times, this is still coming. There are other signs to motorists coming around the corner on this one-way street to watch for oncoming bicycles. But we'll be looking at what's going to be the site of Minnesota's first bicycle stoplight. This used to be an old traffic diverter where no one could get through. There weren't even curb cuts for pedestrians here. So we ripped out the old traffic diverter. This is one of the most difficult crossings of any bike boulevard in the city. We've got about 20,000 cars a day on Broadway Street. So we decided to add a stoplight. There will be a push button there for bicycles. Now the reason why we're adding a bicycle signal here is because northbound, that's the only vehicle that can get through. So that signal head right up there, while it's not lit up right now, it has bicycle symbols etched in the lenses, just like a protected left or a protected right arrow. If a car comes up southbound, then the bicycle signal will automatically come up for southbound, but it will not come up for northbound because we did not want left-turning cars to conflict with the bikes going this way. So it'll have 3 phases, a Broadway phase, a bicycle-only phase, and a southbound-only phase. We've buried counters in the concrete here, so we can automatically see how many bicycles come through this diverter every day.
We're going to have some stops today at a few locations. There are a couple locations in the 13th Avenue business corridor at Northeast Social Club, which is at 4th and 13th. And then also at Behind Bars Bicycle Shop, which is at 13th Avenue and 2nd Street.
So this is a real celebration for the neighborhoods on all the east side today. We spent a lot of Saturday mornings and evenings at the Ritz Theater and Elsie's Bowling Alley planning this, working with the staff, working with the elected officials. The message here is don't give up. Work with the city, work with the staff. You can do anything. It just takes longer than you could ever imagine.
We're going to be looking at a couple of traffic circles. These 2 circles are the first circles put in the city probably in at least 20 years or so. And these were meant to be a traffic calming thing. These were previously 4-way stops. We removed the north-south stops probably about a month ago. We decided to make a change here. Councilmember Reich and Hofstede and the neighbors all agreed to do a 4-way yield. And that still accomplishes our project goal of reducing the amount of stops, because we all know that when we're on our bike, it's very difficult to come to a complete stop and get going again.
For those who think bicycle infrastructure is something extra, they're dead wrong. This is not just important for transportation, it's important for global competitiveness. Cities that are in the globally competitive market have these types of amenities.
And then we are going to ride across the 18th Avenue Bikeway, which is a new off-street facility that was completed this spring as well.
If we would have taken a left on, when we were on 5th Street at 18th Avenue, that's a bike path almost all the way to Marshall.
And then we'll continue up to 22nd Avenue Bicycle Boulevard, which spans across all of Northeast from Marshall and the Mississippi River all the way east to Stinson Boulevard.
On the 22nd Avenue Bike Boulevard, we did 3 stop sign removals and 2 speed bump installations. So part of the deal was, in order to get a stop sign removal, we had to put in some traffic calming.
In this road, 22nd Avenue, it's a real sweet slice of Northeast. You have several different converted buildings for artists. You have the public library, you have a park, you have a high school, you have several very nice pubs.
So right where we're standing, we're 6 months ago, we're in the middle of a massive street. The street actually went all the way over to where that tree is. That was the old boulevard, and it was a very confusing intersection for people. We heard, people didn't know who had the right of way. So all we did was we just narrowed the street down to its typical 32-foot width. The traffic engineers in Minneapolis are becoming very progressive about bicycle infrastructure. So this used to be a traffic diverter going all the way across. It was just a cul-de-sac right here. And so we opened it up for bicycles. We are at 26th and a half Avenue. The big question that we answered during the planning process was, what's the best way to get people from 26th Avenue up to 27th Avenue? We decided to route people through the alley. I don't think this is a good long-term plan, but this alley, before we did this project, was not even paved, and it had huge potholes in it. So part of the compromise, I think, with the residents here was we're going to put in a new alley.
So the 5th Street Bikeway will now officially, with this segment, will reach all the way from the University of Minnesota to the St. Anthony Parkway trails, so the Grand Rounds. That'll be all connected now. And obviously east-west, the Mississippi River will be connected along 22nd, which will go past landmarks like Edison High School, Jackson Square Park, right through the heart of the Central Avenue commercial corridor.
Even though we really applaud and appreciate the amenity here as some of our first routes, this plugs into a system, and routes are only as good as the system they plug into.
Just get on that bike and get going.